Hey y'all, it's Megan. Welcome back to the channel. Glad y'all are here today. In today's video, well, this evening we're picking peaches off our peach tree that you've saw in a few of the videos. We're really excited because we hadn't had peaches on it but twice, and it's been planted probably 7 or 8 years if I had to guess. And it just happened to be this year that the blooms didn't get frostbit, and we've actually gonna have some peaches. So we're gonna get those picked this evening. Stick around and see what we're into tomorrow as well.
Look at that. That is falling off. You know they're ripe when they do that. Right there looks like a pretty one. It's a good sized peach. Y'all, we got this little thing here. It's made to reach up in a fruit tree. Especially, you can reach way up in there with this one. But I'm not sure we're gonna need it on this tree though. Maybe for those way up there.
I was gonna say there's some I can't reach.
Let's see how this works. I've never used it on peaches. Look at there. Just pops it right off.
Well, ain't that snazzy?
I'm not sure y'all can tell but just how full this thing is, but it is. It's slammed full. It looks like though we lost another limb right there. That one will end up having to come off, but it's loaded with peaches. It's a shame fruit trees make more fruit than they can hold, don't they?
I know.
My goodness, that wind feels good.
We probably should have
Look right here.
picked some off, but
We should have never left this much on here, but
it'll be all right.
well, you only got so much time in a day. What in the world are we gonna do with all these peaches?
Megan will figure it out.
Huh?
Megan will figure it out.
Oh. She always does, don't she?
Try.
I need my thing again. I'll get what I can reach first, I guess. So yeah, there's been a lot of people actually asking if we sprayed anything on our fruit trees, and the apple trees and stuff, no, I've never really sprayed much on those, or the pears. Pears don't really have much insect problem either. But the peaches, I have learned in the years past that if you want to have peaches, you got to spray them with something, because if you don't, they're just going to get eat up. So years ago, I was using Liquid 7 on them, and then I started using Perithrin, I think is how you say it, this year.
The Liquid 7 quit working.
Liquid 7 will quit working on anything for us. We have not had success at all with Liquid 7 on anything. So, like I said, I started using Perithrin on them, and usually I'll spray it, and I don't know if this is right, y'all, so don't go and take care of your peach tree this way, because I really don't know. You know, don't take this as like sound advice. I'm just telling you what I do. And I'll typically wait until they're done blooming, because I don't really want to spray them while they're blooming, because you got bees and stuff flying on them. So when they're done blooming and they've started forming that little peach, I will spray them then. And I've always heard it's better to spray them the younger they are to keep the worms and stuff from getting at them. And you know, so far, whoever told me that, it's working. I sprayed them then, and then I don't think I ever actually went back and sprayed them anymore until just the last few days. Because the last few days, the darn the Japanese beetles
and the
June bugs both have been all over this tree. So I say the last few days. It's been about a week and a half ago now, and I sprayed them then, and so they haven't been sprayed since then. But as you can see, we don't have no Japanese beetle or June bug problem. What should you look at there though? And I guess those right there, that one's right. But you can tell if they're ripe or not by how easy they come off the tree. You can also feel of them, like if you can mash on that peach and it's a little bit soft, you know it's probably ripe, or at least close to it. These right here, these are some good sized peaches up in here, and they're still making. They're not, that one was ripe. You see how easy that come off the tree? Like, see, I can tug on that one just a little bit, and it ain't coming off. If it was ripe, it would come off. She's doing it again. How are you supposed to get any picked if you're just gonna keep eating them?
I picked a few and then I eat a few. That's just the way it is. That's my motto of anything that I'm doing. What fun is it being out here picking them if you can't stand here and eat them?
Go ahead.
Can't get that from the grocery store. Golly.
You see how juicy that thing is? I will have to say though, I'm not gonna knock these local orchards because they're.
I said the grocery store.
Oh yeah, the grocery store. No, absolutely not. But them local orchards, man, them peaches are just as good, if not better, than these right here.
That one time we had peaches on this tree, it wasn't nothing like this.
No. Think you gonna make some peach jelly or jam or
Well, I'm gonna freeze what I'm gonna keep first, and then
after that?
that'll be on the back burner.
You got plenty more to pick from.
I like to freeze peaches for peach cobbler. We enjoy peach cobbler a lot.
Yeah, we do. We enjoy any kind of dessert.
Yeah.
We ended up with a half bushel basket of good peaches, another almost a full half bushel basket of good peaches, and then I wouldn't be afraid to say there's a half bushel there
Of rotten peaches.
of rotten peaches for the piggies.
Yep.
So let's run out there and take them to them.
Oh, they'll like that.
Come on, piggies! Come on! There you go. Don't tell me you don't like peaches.
It'll figure it out.
Maybe. The rest of them's eating them. That one right there ain't. He said, I don't want the rotten ones, I want the ripe ones.
Well, I guess that'll about do it, so I'll show y'all what we're gonna do with them tomorrow.
In the morning.
Yep. Well, y'all, it's the next day. And before I get started on my peaches, I noticed yesterday evening that I have some blueberries down here that need to be picked. Even though our blueberry plants have struggled with this drought and everything, I've really gotten quite a bit. I actually made 2 little jelly jars of blueberry jam the other day. It was pretty good. I think I like the blackberry better, but the blueberry jam was pretty good. And so I'm gonna can these, just whole blueberries. Y'all actually gave me that idea. Some people were telling me to do that with the blackberries. I don't like the seeds in blackberries. So I tried it with the blueberries. I went by my ball book that I talk about all the time. They turned out pretty good. I figure I can use them for like cobblers, muffins, pancakes, stuff like that, and save a little room in my freezer. Still coming on. What are you doing, Black Kitty? Got a pretty good little bunch of blueberries. I've got some in the fridge I need to put up too. That's kind of what I've been doing. I'll come pick them about every 2 or 3 days and put some in the refrigerator. That way I got enough to make it worth fooling with. And I ain't doing just a little at a time. But I'm gonna get up here and get all these peaches peeled. It's such a beautiful morning. I'm gonna actually sit outside here and work on these peaches. And I just like to sit here and enjoy listening to the birds sing. So I'm just gonna peel them with a little peeler that I got. It works pretty good for peaches. You just have to be kind of gentle with them. I know that you can blanch peaches and peel them that way. I have done that. To me, just personal opinion, it's more trouble than it's worth. So I'd just assume do it this way. I'm gonna get them peeled and cut up. Eat a few as I go.
So, one of the things I want to get knocked off my list today, it's hot, but the humidity has dropped big time today. So, I'm going to work on the garden down here. We've actually got rain supposed to be coming in tomorrow. We actually have a good chance of rain. So, I want to get everything worked up down here, get rid of a lot of the weeds that are coming in, and I'm going to show y'all just how much this garden has changed since the last time y'all saw it. So guys, check out my pumpkins here. I put down a layer of hay around them, right around the base of them, and then I'm just keeping this area tilled until the vines sprawl out, and that over there too. But look at how these things are doing. Y'all, me and Megan and the kids, we're all just so excited about these. I'll move that out of the way there so I don't hit him. Then our Dixie Lee peas, these things are coming in right now. Are just growing like crazy. The October beans hadn't quite got ripe yet. They're still got a lot of green under there. There's some coming though. See, they still got a long ways to go. But these right here, these are our purple hull peas. And I really thought these things was never going to bloom. I was like, these things are just going to keep vining and vining and vining, and they're never going to bloom. But they finally started blooming, and once they start blooming, let me tell you, it don't take long, they start making peas. And they are loaded out through there. But yeah, everything down here. So since the garden tour video, we've had roughly right at an inch of rain, which on all the upland, on the ridges and stuff, and our grass and all, even though we've had that rain, it doesn't seem to really, it's helped, but it hasn't done a lot because it was so dry already. But man, down here on this garden in the bottom, just look at how, everything down here is just wet. So that's what you keep hearing us talk about. This thing right here just holds moisture, and it doesn't take much water for it at all. But the corn has really grew. My tomatoes have really grew. I've put a Florida weave up around them. So y'all saw in the garden video, I thought our popcorn really wasn't going to do much. Well, boy, the rain really brought it out, and we've got ears forming, and it's like that all down through there. So maybe, just maybe, we'll actually get some popcorn from this too. But the sweet potatoes here, man, they are vining out. Everything in this garden right here has just exploded since we got that rain. But not only has our crop exploded, so is the grass. And that's exactly why I want to go ahead and get this garden work today, because if it does rain tomorrow, at least, it'll be ready. But if it does rain, it's liable to be another week before I can get in this garden again and actually work it. And by then, all that little grass out there will be, it'll be green across there. It'll be a green mat. It won't take no time. I'm also going to fertilize the corn. And instead of doing this with a tractor, since really just on the other side of the pumpkins right here, this, and this is all I can really work because everything else has done got too big. I'm I've got my tiller down here, and I've done used it one time before. And I'll just till through everything, and then I'm gonna come through the corn rows with a hoe and hill it up. And hopefully I'll have this garden ready for rain.
Alright, so I've got some of them cut up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put these out on a cookie sheet. It's really about too many of them for this cookie sheet, but I'm going to stick these in the freezer for a few hours just to kind of let the juices freeze a little bit. That way my vacuum sealer don't suck all the juice out of my peaches. Because these will be vacuum sealed and frozen just like this right here for peach cobblers and stuff like that.
Ain't that pretty?
Thought so. They're good too.
They're beautiful.
So I'll do that, and I'll leave them in there till this evening, check them and see how froze they are, and then go from there.
Well, there you go. So what I'm going to do now is get my fertilizer, and I'm just going to sling it out by these 3 rows of corn. Then I'm going to take the hoe and hill the dirt right up on top of the fertilizer. And the reason I want to do that is just in case it don't rain, you don't want your fertilizer laying on top of the ground, because the sun and everything else will just kind of leach it away. And the sun will actually make the fertilizer melt and just go away, and it won't even do you no good. But if you've got it buried up under the soil, then it'll stay there until it does get moisture on it. But I believe this old garden's looking pretty good. I am pleased. But I tell you what, doing what we're doing right now, staying on top of these weeds, is the most important thing we can do, because once it gets out of hand, it's out of hand. There's not much you can do with it. And it's not going to be long that everything's going to be so big, we can't get in here and work it anyways. So when that point comes, we want minimum weeds as possible. So I'm using a 10-10-10 today. I would prefer to use something that had more nitrogen in it. However, this is just what I've got. I don't have to go nowhere and get it. I just want to take the hoe and pull some dirt up around the corn. And what this is going to do, I'm going to go down one side and back down the other. What this is going to do is cover up that fertilizer, sort of halfway heal up the corn too. And I'm also covering any weeds that's left right there in the middle of the row that the tiller couldn't get. This doesn't have to be a slow process. I mean, you've got some good dirt, you can move on with it. You see there pretty much what we're trying to accomplish. We got that row built up just a little bit, and we've brought it in there and covered up all the weeds that were like this. You know, everything through there we've covered up. So I know that a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, some people struggle with corn. And you know, corn is kind of like one of those things that you mess up one time with that crop and it stresses it out, then it's pretty much over with. You want to keep your corn fed. You want to keep your corn as weed free as possible. Corn don't like competition from weeds, and corn is very, very hungry. So just remember that. Down here, you know, we use the cover crops. I till into crimson clover every spring and all that good stuff. So that helps keep our soil pretty fertile to begin with. But then, like you can see there, there was fertilizer under that row when I planted the corn. Not much, but there was some there. And then I just added fertilizer just now. Now this right here, unless I notice some yellowing on the leaves or something not looking right, this will be the only time I fertilize this corn after this. But in some cases, if you don't have your soil built up real good or very fertile land, you may have to fertilize your corn again. Just remember, corn is hungry. And you can tell by looking at the plant whether it's getting everything it needs or not. If it's got that real nice dark green color to it, it's growing real vigorously, you know that your corn is happy. If you've got some really yellow looking corn, it's growing kind of slow, more than likely you need to feed that corn. But corn's really not that hard to do once you get that figured out. Like I said, you got to keep the weeds out of it though. If you ever let the weeds take your corn, and especially when it's still in a young stage like this right here, that can be detrimental to a corn crop. You probably won't make nothing. I don't care how good your land is if you let the weeds take your corn when it's in this stage right here. Now once it gets taller, that's fine. Corn will typically start to shade the ground out anyways. So I realize that not everybody might not know exactly how you're supposed to hoe. So if that grass is out here, you don't want to just chop him up and leave him there. Pull that thing out, pull that big clod out into the middle of the row, and then cover back up right here with the soil. But if you pull this out into the middle of your row like that right there, when you come back through with a tiller again, you'll chop it up. If you leave it laying right here where a tiller or a tractor or something's not going to cultivate it, it'll take root again and come right on back up, and you really haven't done yourself any good. Guys, something that I've found that really helps out with me keeping the weeds out of this garden, even though I know it's not good care for your tools, I leave my hoe down here, and it's already down here every evening. So when I take a walk, I come down here, walk around this garden, and I see problems, I've got my hoe here all ready to fix it. So I've just been leaving it here, and every evening I'll come by and sort of take care of a little bit of it, and then go on about my business. I believe I've just about got it ready. Bring on the rain. I wish that I had the means to put down a mulch layer on this whole garden. That would just make life so much easier. But I don't have that much hay or straw that I can use like that. And you know, tilling, in my opinion, like this, cultivating or whatever you want to call it, is pretty much the cheapest way to go because it just requires manual labor out of you. And hey, it don't hurt us to get a little bit of manual labor every once in a while either. We mentioned in our garden tour video that we have started taking a walk every evening, just going around and pretty much checking on things. And y'all, that was by far the best thing we ever done. Because when we come down here in the evenings just walking around looking, even if I don't pull but 2 clumps of grass, when I do it, I've pulled those 2 clumps of grass. So that's 2 clumps of grass that I don't have to worry about growing up tall. So, you know, I think the biggest thing with gardening and being successful with gardening is paying attention to what you've got going. That's probably the most important thing ever if you want to be successful. It's tough to have a good garden and go out here and plant it and then forget about it for a week or so and then come back to it and then forget about it for another week or so. You can do it, but it's tough to be that way. You've really got to stay on top of things and pay attention to what's going on, noticing problems, noticing weeds, and take care of them when you see them. If you want to be successful, that's the one easy way to do it. It just takes some time and devotion to do it. One more thing I'd like to show before I leave and go back to the house is our fencing that actually keeps the deer out. Now, we have electric netting. This is just your regular like sheep and goat netting. I think poultry netting actually works better because you've got the smaller holes down here. So see, like we've had a problem with a groundhog. Groundhog's been slipping between them 2 wires right there. And I guess they've got such a thick fur layer that they're not getting shot. If you had the poultry netting with with the smaller holes in it, I think it would work a lot better because can't nothing slip through the squares. But this does stay energized. We've got power wire that comes across the creek over from our cow fence over there. And then on the inside of this fence, we've got 1 run of poly wire. You see it right there? And that does not have power on it, but it's there for just like an optical illusion. So like your deer see this fence and then they see that fence and they don't jump that 3D-ness there because from what I'm told, deer can't judge the distance. So they won't jump that wire because they're scared they'll get hurt and they can't tell what's there. And I'm gonna show you one other thing down here that, so since we've made a video, y'all, we figured out that there was a groundhog getting in our garden doing the eating. It wasn't a rabbit, it was a groundhog. Because I actually caught him red-handed. But he was coming in over here somewhere and going right out in there and walking out. And we've actually had a little bit more damage from the groundhog since then. Not bad at all. I started using some liquid fence, deer and rabbit repellent on it, and that seems to have kept him off of it pretty good. We put up, though, these noise makers with intentions. See that? So these things are solar powered. You can also charge them up, you know, in your house with a plug-in, but they are solar powered. And we put those up with intentions of whatever was down here, the rabbit or deer, that this would scare them away. Well, I think they do a really good job scaring deer away because, you know, deer are kind of jumpy anyways. But the groundhog walked right by those and they were going off and everything. The groundhog walked right by them into the garden and didn't really pay attention to them. But I do think that they would be good for deer because deer are a lot more jumpy. Now, coons or something like that, coons are brave and smart and they figure out things, you know, so I don't figure that would work good for coons either. But I bet you could use a bunch of those around your garden and probably keep the deer out of it. But anybody that's curious, we got those off of Amazon. I know we had a ton of questions come up in the last video of the garden tour where they came from. They came from Amazon, and we will make sure to have a link in the description below. And I'll also stick a link in the description to the deer and rabbit repellent that we've used. Just want to show you that real quick too, because we've had a ton of questions asking about those noise makers and a ton of questions asking about how in the world are you supposed to keep the critters out of your garden. This fencing is not a guaranteed thing. However, it does work for us. But I have had coons slip in through that wire too if my power ever starts getting slack on it. So that's something else to keep in mind. That's also why I think using poultry netting versus your regular sheep and goat netting would work better. But anyways, it's enough talking. Let's get back up to the house.
Well, y'all, here it is supper time, and I feel like I haven't got a whole lot accomplished today, but I've got most of the peaches peeled. I always forget just how long it takes to peel all those peaches. Now, my first set of peaches you saw me put in the freezer, I just checked them. They're pretty good and frozen, so I can vacuum seal those here in a little bit. But I wanted to show y'all what I was fixing for supper. This is called the Mountain Man Breakfast. And I got to give credit where credit's due. I found this recipe by watching the cowboy cook Kent Rollins. Me and Andy really enjoy watching his YouTube channel. So right now I'm just browning up some bacon. Got it all cut up into little chunks. And we're just getting that good and brown. I've made this several times before, and you talking about good. Now it is very filling, but it's very good. Now that my bacon's good and brown, we're just gonna get that out and put that over on a paper towel for now. Next thing is ground pork. I'll put my bacon over here. Now, if you use a store-bought sausage, it ain't gonna make as much grease as mine, so you wanna leave you a little more bacon grease in there than I did, but that sausage will make plenty of grease. All right, my sausage has gotten good and brown, so I'm gonna add in 1 medium chopped onion, and I'm also gonna add in, he calls for bell pepper, but I tried one of these Mad Hatter peppers the other day. Look how cool they are. And they were very good. I really like the taste of them. So I'm actually just going to add in a couple of these instead of a bell pepper. Let's throw in our peppers. And all that mixed in there together. Let's throw us in a few diced potatoes. Now you can do frozen hash browns or whatever, but I just diced up some of them fingerling potatoes and get all that mixed in. And let that be a cooking. Now we're going to do just a little bit of seasoning here. This is we're just going to let this cook till everything gets tender, the peppers, the taters, the whole 9 yards.
So I got one more thing that I want to try to get done before this rain moves in tomorrow. And that's taking care of sowing a cover crop on top of where our potato patch was. So I'm going to be using buckwheat and sunflowers, which is a little bit different combination than I've used in the past, but we'll talk about that when we get up there. So here behind me is what used to be the potato patch. Y'all probably saw us dig these potatoes. We've had an inch of rain since we dug the potatoes, and it's still, well, you dig down in there, you can find some moisture. The ground has really just soaked that inch of rain up. But I'm telling y'all, when we say we were dry, and we still are. And you see the brown tint across the grass there? So with that being said, I want to go ahead and get this cover crop sowed on the potato patch, and then we'll be done with the potato patch until Well, until we plant our fall cover crop, because I don't really plan on planting anything else up here. So what I'm going to be using is buckwheat, and that's what you see out here that's got the white blooms on it, and sunflowers. I'm going to add in some black oil sunflowers. These are just your ones from Tractor Supply that people would typically use for bird seed. And normally I will plant buckwheat and cowpea together, because cowpea is a nitrogen fixer. But I don't have any cowpeas right now, and I'm ready to plant, and I don't have really nowhere that I can go get some right now. So we're going to use what we got. We're going to throw some sunflowers in here. And those sunflowers will still come up and bloom and be pretty. The buckwheat will come on really fast, and it'll mature fast, and it'll be done fast. So keep that in mind if you guys use buckwheat as a cover crop. If you let it seed out, it will be almost like a weed in next year's crop. I don't mind that, because buckwheat is extremely easy to take care of and do away with. Like, it's a very tender plant. So I don't mind having a weed problem of buckwheat.
I've got me 6 eggs scrambled up. We're gonna flatten this out, make it a little level here. And we're gonna just pour this all over that there. Just like that. We got the lid on it. We're gonna let that cook for 10 or 15 minutes till them eggs get done.
This is an Earthway chest type spreader. I probably won't use that much buckwheat, but we've got it in there just in case. Okay, so next we'll be putting down the sunflower seed. And this I probably don't want quite as thick as my buckwheat, but I'm still going to put them down pretty thick. And for anybody out there wondering, the purpose of these cover crops, now this is a summer cover crop. Wintertime cover crop, I'll use something totally different. This, what I'm planting here, will get killed by the cold weather. Purpose of this cover crop is where I'm done with this field and I don't have really any intentions for it. This will help me control the weed pressure, because I'm controlling what's growing here, and this is going to come up quickly and shade out the ground to where weeds won't, well, most weeds won't germinate. Then it's also going to help hold it together, you know, if we have a big rainstorm or something. And then it also gives you like a green material to till back into the soil and just constantly be working in, you know, material into your soil, helping build your soil. And second off, you don't really ever want to leave bare ground unattended like that. You want something growing in your soil as much as you possibly can. And so with cover crops, we just control what grows in the soil. Instead of having weeds growing, we're choosing what goes in there. We get these seeds spread out, and then we'll run back over it lightly with the tiller, just kind of work these seeds in and be done with it.
Time for our bacon. A pile of cheese. We're gonna stick the lid back on, put that in there till the cheese melts.
I want to give y'all an idea of just how thick this stuff's planted. There's a sunflower, there's a sunflower, there's a sunflower. I mean, they're thick. Then there's a buckwheat. There's buckwheat, there's buckwheat, there's buckwheat, there's buckwheat. You know, this stuff is thick. I don't want it to be thin. I want it to cover that ground up. You know, those sunflowers are going to be so thick, they're probably not going to be big, tall, beautiful sunflowers. They'll end up being little short sunflowers, but that's okay with me. Their purpose is to cover that ground. How I'm going to put that seed into the ground is, see right here, right now my tiller free spins. I'm going to run that tiller on the ground, knocked out of gear, and let it sort of spin over this. I will say, if you have a newer model tractor that has a hydraulic clutch, I would not be letting it free spin like that because it could potentially damage something. However, this one does not have a hydraulic clutch. It's not going to hurt a thing on this tractor letting it free spin and turn that PTO like that. But I do want to advise you, you can do it at your own risk. I have done it on a hydraulic clutch tractor before. I don't recommend you do it though. Let's go out here and see how well this works. I'm not really seeing any seeds, so that's a good thing. I guess it worked pretty good. So I wouldn't use this method right here if the land was wet because it would pack everything down too much. I believe where this land was so powdery, that right there actually worked pretty good. I don't see a seed nowhere showing. So everything should be covered up. Pray that the good Lord send us some rain. Well, that thing smells good.
Alright, last thing we're going to do over our melted cheese is we're going to take us about 4 eggs. And we're just going to crack them right over top here.
Dad, come here. I'll tell you about it.
This casserole is a good way to use up excess eggs because it takes a pile of them. Let's do one more. Lid's going back on. And we're about finished. We gotta let these eggs get done. Alright, let's check our eggs. They should be about done. The ones on top's the ones I'm looking for. Oh yeah.
Beautiful.
That is perfecto. What do you think about that, Mr. Lawson?
Makes my satisfaction.
Well, that's a simple 1-pot meal, and it is so good, and it is so filling. Like, we'll eat on this for probably, what, 3 days?
Probably.
I think last time it was
Probably eat for lunch tomorrow.
maybe lunch the next day.
Maybe.
So let's fix this plate. So this has got layers in it, the way we fixed it, so you hopefully can see them when I get this out. Gotta make sure to get you one of them eggs on top. Oh no, my egg's running away.
I see that.
But our sausage, y'all, is greasy.
Yeah, it's our homemade sauce.
Yeah, so
It's got a lot of fat in it.
grease makes it good.
It looks like one big old mess, but I guarantee it's gonna be good.
Oh yeah, and you want your egg a little runny like that, so that'll be delicious. So I'm gonna get these peaches vacuum sealed. My mistake, I did put them on tin foil instead of wax paper. I was out of wax paper, so I just put them on tin foil. I let them stay in there a little bit too long, so they're a little too frozen, but I'm making it work. There we go. And I just kind of play this by ear. Let's see, that's working. Just kind of play this by ear, and I fill up my little bag. And whatever's in a bag, that's what I put in my cobbler. Whatever fits in one of these little bags.
So in other words, you're saying this is like everything else you do, there's no exact measurement.
There's no exact science or measurement.
You just put however much you want to in a bag.
Yes. Ever how much fits, that's how much goes in a peach cobbler.
However much fits, ships.
But actually, I can't remember when it was. I think it was last year sometime. We actually had a viewer suggest pre-freezing the fruit and then vacuum seal it. And I was like, that is the most brilliant thing I've ever heard in my life. Because now my vacuum sealer doesn't suck out all my juice.
It's a wonderful idea.
It is wonderful.
So for anybody asking, this is an Excalibur vacuum sealer. I guess you can still get these things, can't you?
Yeah, I think they're on Amazon.
We've had it forever.
We went through food saver after food saver after food saver. But just because we've used it
A lot.
So this thing's lasted us pretty good though.
Yeah, it was a little expensive to start with.
So I mean, they're little waffy jaws.
Oh, they look pretty.
But
That's
see,
beautiful.
they still kept their shape. That's what I like about it. They still kept their shape and they're not, all the juice ain't gone. So that's perfect. So we'll get these finished up. We'll get the other ones in the freezer. I still got like a half a bushel of peaches to peel. They may just wait till tomorrow.
They probably will.
I'm so tired of peeling peaches. And my blueberries that you saw me pick, I guess I'm just going to wait, and I'll probably fool with them tomorrow or this weekend. I may wait, like I told y'all this morning, and get a few more, and then maybe can some blueberries. So anyways, guys, I hope y'all really enjoyed today's video. Hope you might have learned a little something. Make you the Mountain Man breakfast casserole. It'll hold us over till supper tomorrow night.
I don't know about all that, though. It may hold you over. They'll hold me over. I gotta eat.
But anyways, y'all, till we see y'all on the next one.
Y'all have a good one.
Have a good one.